Good morning, everyone. In today's lab, we'll be looking at the IP address configuration in router interface. Okay, so we'll be putting IP address in these two interfaces. Okay. Later on, we'll be looking at the DHCP configuration commands that will be used to configure the router. So in previous lesson, we have done DHCP server in a server, but in today's lesson or session, we'll be configuring DHCP in a router. Okay, so in this router 0, we'll be configuring the DHCP server. Then later on, we'll be configuring Telnet. So we'll discuss about the requirements of Telnet, what are required to configure a Telnet, like username, password, enable password. It will be what discussed in this later on. First of all, let's make the topology. So for making the topology, let's go to the Cisco packet tracer. Okay, in this topology, we require a router. Okay, then we require two PCs, one laptop. Okay, you can have a PC also over here, and two switches. So let's begin the configurations. Okay, so let's have a router, two switches, two PCs, and lastly we'll have a laptop. Okay, it's not necessary to have a laptop, but you can have that router. So let's connect them. In this topology, we have already seen that we have two networks as they are two broadcast domain or two router ports. So in this left side, we'll have 192.168.1.0 network. So let's have that network. Let's fill the color. Okay, so this network will be 192.168.1.0. In right side, we'll have 192.168.2.0/24. So let's make an image. So let's do it. Now this is 192.168.1.0/24, and the next one, this one is 192.168.2.0/24. Now in router, let's look at the topology. Design a network according to the figure above. So 192.168.1.1 and 192.168.2.11. All others are DHCP clients. So this is 1.11, 192.168.1. I think 1. Let's see the topology 1.1 and 2.11. Okay, so 1.1 and this is 2.11. So 192.168.2.11. Now this PC, both will be in DHCP. So I will write here DHCP client. And this laptop will also get IP from DHCP. So this will be also the DHCP client. First of all, what we have to do is we have to configure the interface. Interface. We have to configure the IP address in these three laptops. Okay, these three PCs. So first of all, we start from PC 0. So let's go to the desktop, IP configuration, and the IP address. Oh, sorry, we are not doing it statically. So we'll not be configuring anything in this PCs. Now let's configure the IP address in router. So let's go to the router command line interface. So we go with no enable to configure, make it to privilege mode. So since we are configuring it, we'll go to configure terminal. Okay, you can also type configure only. Okay, you can do anything. Now go to the interfaces. So this part of the interface is gig 0/0. That means left side is gig 0/0 and right side is gig 0/1. So let's go to gig 0/0. So gig 0/0, what is the IP address? 192.168.1.1. So IP address 192.168.1.1. What is the subnet? So this is /24 network. So we'll have subnet max 255.255.255.0. If you have any questions over these configurations, you can look previous video, that is first lab in Cisco. Okay, that is just published 5-6 days ago. You can look at that video. Now let's make it up. So by default our interface are in down state. So let's look over there. So we go to the IP interface brief. Okay, this command will tell the uh, status of our interfaces. Normally we can see that we have two interfaces. One is gig 0/0 and next one is gig 0/1. Here I have given the IP address just before. Look at here, I have given the command. So it has been assigned with 192.168.1.1, and method manual, I have given the IP address myself, so it is showing manual and it is showing administratively down. That means I have not turned on the port. In previous video also I have told you that normally router's port is in shutdown state and switch port is in the no shutdown state. So we have to make the router port off. So for making that port off, so let's go to the configuration mode, interface gig 0/0. We'll type no shutdown. Since we have already assigned IP address, we'll be going to next interface. So before going to the next interface, please type exit. Else you can do without typing exit also, but we'll use exit. Okay, so let's get to gig 0/1. What is the IP address in gig 0/1? That is 192.168.2.11. so let's put it over there. So gig 0/1 IP address, what we're gonna do, 192.168.2.11, and it's also 24-bit. So we'll have this. So no shutdown, we have done the first thing. Okay, that means assigning the IP address. Now what we have to do is we have to make a DHCP server in this router. Normally while making a DHCP server, we make DHCP server in global configuration mode. Global configuration mode means we'll make it in this config mode. Okay, this mode. That means will not be in any interfaces. Okay? So this is global configuration mode. If we are in this, then this is interface configuration mode. So will not be inside the interface. So for that, we'll make a DHCP server for this left router, and we'll also make DHCP server for this router. How can we distinguish which network will ask which DHCP server? Because we'll have two pools. Look over here, we'll have a pool. Let me do it in the notepad. We'll make a two pool. One is pool left for left side network, and we'll make another pool, that is pool right. So we'll define inside the pool that this pool left will be for this network and this pool right will be inside this network. So let's do the configuration, you will be clear after that. So for left network, if we are making a pool, before making pool we have to statically give IP address to some devices in the network. So we'll make exclusion. That means we'll not be giving the IP address from DHCP server from 192.168.1.1. We'll give IP address from 192.168.1.10 to 192.168.1.254, because in some cases if there are servers that needs to have static IP address and they have to be resolved, we cannot do that if we do not exclude some IP address. So to make it in safe place, we'll do exclusion of IP address. That means in this topology, I don't want to give 192.168.1.1 to 192.168.1.10 to any devices. If a device asks, if in this scenario, if this device asks for IP address, it will get 1.11. That means this 192.168.1.1 to 192.168.1.10 IP address will be reserved for future use. So let's do the exclusion. For making the exclusion, IP DHCP, that is the command, then excluded address. Okay, and what IP you want to exclude? 192.168.1.1 up to where? 192.168.1.10. So this command will exclude that the DHCP server will not give IP address from 192.168.1.1 to 1.10. So this is the configuration. Now we'll do the DHCP configuration, okay, for the left side. So first of all, we have to make a pool. So for making the pool, IP DHCP pool, you can give any name, okay, pool name. So I'll give it left, okay, because I want to do it for left side network. So what are the commands what we will be doing inside the pool? Let's question mark them. So normally we'll be using only 3 commands over here. One is default router, next is DNS server, next is network. So what will default router mean? So normally uh, we have learned this in previous lesson also. Default router means the same as the default gateway. So in this network, left side network, the default gateway is 192.168.1.1 because this is the IP address of the router. So this will be the what default router. So if this PC asks what will it get as a default gateway, it will get as 192.168.1.1. So what is the default router? So we provide the router IP address. So 192.168.1.1. So the first configuration has been done. Now next we have to do is DNS server. What is the DNS server in this network? We don't have any, but we don't want to leave it. Okay, so we'll do 192. We'll give Google DNS. Okay, so 8.8.8.8. In this topology, we don't have any requirement of DNS server, but also we'll give DNS server 8.8.8 because to show how TCP works. Okay, so next is we'll give network. This network command has a very important role. We are making these configurations inside what global configuration mode. That means it is applicable for both this network and this network because this is in the routers what global configuration mode. So how does that router know that this network is asking for that network, that IP address of that network? So it is through the network. So this network command will define that it is for this network. What is the network ID of this network? That is 192.168.1.0. So we'll give that IP address. So network is 192.168.1.0. So this DHCP pool is made for 192.168.1.0 network. So if some devices asks from 192.168.1.0 network, it will get the IP address. That means this interface will only get this what DHCP leads. Okay, so let's do that. Sorry, we have to define the subnet max also. So we are done with the DHCP configuration in left side. So let's test that. Okay, so for testing, go to PC0, we'll go to IP configuration and we'll go to it is in static, we'll go in DHCP. So we are getting the IP address. If we are not getting the IP address, we are getting 169.254 or APPA. There is some configuration errors in your DHCP server. In that time, sometime it takes time, so you can go to static and again get the IP address. But what happens if you get IP address? It will go. So we have done what? We have excluded from 192.168.1.10 1.1 to 192.168.1.10. So it is giving IP address from 1.1. That means the exclusion has been successfully done. Now next in this PC also I think it will get 1.12. Let's test that. Yes, it's getting 192.168.1.12. So our DHCP configuration for this side or our left side has been done. Let's do it for right side. I'll not be explaining every detail in right side. So I have to do IP DHCP excluded. We have to exclude in this section also. It's important because we are giving 192.168.2.11 IP address in the router, so we'll exclude from 192.168.1.1 to 192.168.1.20. okay, in this type you can do up to 12 also, it's not big deal, but I will do from 192.168.1.1 to 192.168.1.20. so it will give IP address from 21. Okay, so this is the exclusion. Let's make the pool. I will give the pool right. Okay, so network, which network I'm making the pool for? 192.168.2.0. so 192.168.2.0. Sorry, I'm always mistaken over here. So if you got confused with the command, go with question mark, okay? It will tell you 255.255.0. Next one, what do we want to do? Default router. If you are confused with the command, go with the question mark. It's not a big deal, okay? So we'll go with default router and type the IP address of the router. What is that? 192.168.2.11. So 192.168.2.11. Sorry, I'm sorry. I did the mistake. So if I make the mistake, go with no. Okay, in every command you are mistaken, go with no. Okay, so I think now we are okay. Let's make it 2.11. Now next one is DNS server. Although we don't need it, we'll give 8.8.8.8. Okay, so DHCP configuration has been done. Let's look at the show run command so that the changes I have made has been reflected on us. So DHCP excluded address, yes, it's been done. DHCP pool, okay, we have two pools, one is left and the next one is right. Okay, default router is 2.11. So IP address we can see. So we have done the configurations, right? So let's test that. Okay, in this laptop, go to the desktop, IP configuration, and in the DHCP, yes, we have done it mistaken, because we are getting from 2.1. So let's see the error. What is the error? So let's go over here, excluded. Oh shit, we have done 1.1. Yes, so we have to make it right. So to make it right, we have to, let's copy this, then let's go to the configuration mode, put a no over here, let's paste that, enter, then we IP DHCP excluded address 192.168.2. What's that? 192.192.168.2.11. Sorry, we go up to 220. Is it okay? Yes. Now let's look over there. It should get IP address from 2.21. Yeah, I'm right. So let's now configure the telnet. So for configuring telnet, we have to have some prerequisites. What are the prerequisites? We have to make username and password. Okay. So telnet requires username and password. We have not made any username and password. So the command for making username and password is in router. We'll go to configuration mode. Then we'll write username. Let's make it Galaxy. Then password. The password. Okay. So the username is Galaxy and the password is Galaxy. So let's make the username and password in the router. It is in global configuration mode. So let's go to the router. We are in global configuration mode. Let's paste that. Okay, we have made the username and password. Next prerequisites for telnet, that is enable password. So we have to put the enable password also. The enable password, we know it better. In previous video also we have done that. That is enable password, then the password. Let's make it Cisco. Okay, so I'm taking password. You can make it secret also. Okay, it's not a big deal. Now let's go to here, paste that command. Now we have enabled the password. Now we have to enable the telnet. Telnet is a virtual terminal. So the command for enabling a telnet is line bty. Okay, so bty stands for virtual terminal. So it is saying that the line that is virtual. Okay, so I want to make 6 sessions of telnet. Okay, I will allow 6 sessions, so I will do 0 and 5. That means 0, the first session will be 0, then 1 2 3 4 5, means I can concurrently run 6 people's telnet. Okay, so this server will run 6 telnet sessions concurrently. So for that, so if you don't know, go with line bty 05. Then after that, while logging in, we'll log in through this username and password. This username and password is written in our local. We have created it locally, so we'll go with login and local. So Thanks, we have done the configuration. And after the configuration has been done, please don't forget to write. So I think we have done it right. Okay. Now, what is the purpose of Telnet? Telnet is used to remote access devices. Oh, okay. So from farther places. That means if we have the network reach, that means if we have a router in Kathmandu or any places that is a farther city from Pokhara where I reside now. If I have to configure a router from Kathmandu, I'm sitting in Pokhara, I have the network access to that router, then I can do it from my home. So for that configurations, we use telnet. Okay, so for telnet configuration, go to the command line. Okay, the command is telnet, then the IP address. What is the IP address of the router? 192.168.1.1. So we are asked with username and password. So what is the username? I think that is Galaxy. The password is also Galaxy. What is the enable password? If you have not configured the enable password, it will not be here. Okay, so you have to enable the password. What is the enable password? Cisco. So we are in the router configuration. So we have be in the router configuration mode through the PC. That means we are remotely configuring the router. So this is the feature of Telnet. Okay. So we have done, I think, everything that is written in our lab session today. So design a network according to the above figure. Make host name your name, password your name. Oh, this one is okay. We'll make host name. Okay, so we'll change the host name. Okay, host name that is Galaxy. And we'll also change the password, that is enable password. So we'll also change that to Galaxy. Okay, so because otherwise you can put anything. Okay, so that is the configuration. Let's look there. Make DHCP server in both network. We have done that. Configure telnet in router, and we have already accessed it. Let's access it again. Okay, so before we do anything, go to the router. If you have made any changes, go with WR, that is write command. Okay, so let's go to the PC. So I think we'll exit. Okay, enable, sorry, we'll do telnet again. Before that, we'll use clear. No, it is not working. So let's go with telnet 192.168.1.1. Okay, username is Galaxy, password is Galaxy, then enable, that is also Galaxy. So we are in the configuration mode. So if we see show run, we'll see the configurations. Okay, so enable password Galaxy. I have said the demerits of enable password in previous video. You can look over there. Thank you for today.